Hi guys, welcome to this great card trick, and I was telling my children about a card trick I performed the night before Christmas. And I was in a bar one night showing some friends some card tricks, as you do. The particular trick I was using was just a regular deck of cards, and we was going to get them to choose a card. In fact, we never use jokers, do we? They're no good. Who uses jokers? Don't need those. So we got rid of the jokers. But I got them to choose a card from the pack. Now, as we go through, I got them to just say stop, and wherever they said stop, we cut the pack and they took the card that they stopped at. In this case, not a particularly high card, it was the 5 of diamonds. You see, I was going to perform my classic hole through the card. And just as I was about to punch a hole in the card, this big fella came in through the door. He had a big fluffy white beard on. And as he came in, he greeted everyone with the ho, ho, ho. I actually thought he said ho, ho, ho. And I was a bit startled, and it caused me to punch not one hole, but 3 holes in the chosen card. I was not impressed. And this fella could see that I was a bit upset because not only had I ruined the trick, but I'd ruined a perfectly good deck of cards by punching 3 holes through the chosen card. But he said to me, don't worry. He said it like that, don't worry. And he took the cards and he said, you've ruined your cards. And he said, I'll tell you what, let's take one of the cards that you never use, the joker, and we'll put it in the middle of the pack like that. But he said, I'll tell you what, let's put it face up. So he took the card and he pushed it into the middle, face up, like that. He then took this card here and he placed it on top of the pack, and he said, watch, now you can see the holes in the card. He took off his big red glove. He waved his hand over it once, he waved it twice, and then he waved it a 3rd time, and amazingly, boom, the holes had gone. Not only that, when he showed the face, the holes were no longer there. The holes had gone totally from the card. I said to him, so where did the holes go? He said, remember that joker you put in the pack? And what he did is that he then proceeded to spread the cards, and there was the joker, and he pulled it out, and there were the 3 missing holes. The old fella left the bar, and as he went, he must have had his wife in the car, because I heard him call out, I'll be with you in a minute, Rudolph. Bit of an unusual name for his wife, but he left. But as he left, he turned and he winked at me with a little twinkle in his eye. And as he walked out the door, I picked up the card and turned it over. And that is the story of the card trick the night before Christmas. Now, the trick you've just seen is a bit of a comical themed Christmas trick, but you can perform it throughout the year using anything like a storyline of that you're an old gunslinger from the cowboy days and that someone shoots a card with their gun and things like that. So it can be a bit of a different themed. But the trick itself, where the holes vanish, has been around for a long time. Now, I know there's a trick floating around at the moment commercially that does a similar thing. Not sure how that works, probably different to how I'm doing this. But this stems from a trick from the sort of 80s, where you used to have a card that had a square and a circle cut out the middle, and you used to use the same principle of making it vanish. How does the vanish work? Well, first of all, let me just show you. You need a hole punch like this. You can pick these up from eBay for just a 2 or 3 pounds or dollars. So they're not expensive. And what you do is you punch out some holes in the card, and it's a great illusion because when you put that on top, if you make sure that it's not flat, that you hold it with a break, so the card is almost floating above the cards below it, because it casts a shadow through the holes, it kind of gives the illusion that you've got the holes in there, and when you drop the card, it's almost like they vanish right before their eyes. Of course, there are the holes there, and when you turn over, it looks as though they've disappeared. That's the principle of how that works. Let me just go through very quickly, because it's not a difficult trick to perform. You need a regular deck of cards. Dig out of an old pack of cards a joker that's got a different coloured back. And what I did with this, you'll notice that I deliberately got the holes punched on this side. That's because when this is put in the middle and you spread the cards, the holes are not seen straight away. Okay, so put that face up in the middle. I then put on top of the pack 2 identical cards. Of course, you are going to force that card, so I put 2 cards on top. People say, oh, you're ruining cards every time you perform this. What I tend to do is I buy a deck of 52 all alike. That way you've got 52 performances you can do. So I did buy a pack of cards that were 52 5 of diamonds, so I can do this again and again. So I put these 2 cards on top. I then put a joker at the bottom and a joker at the top. That's it. When you perform, you can spread the cards, just don't go to the middle, okay? Because you'll reveal this. But you can spread the cards, you can show them as regular, that there's nothing special, and if you're feeling confident, I suppose you could spread them if you wanted to. You turn the cards up and you say, well, we don't need jokers, and you throw these down, and you can go through and just get rid of the jokers and show them quite freely. Put those to one side. You then say, we're going to get you to choose a card. Now, all you need to do is to force the top card. You can do a slip cut force, but don't go too far, okay? Or whichever type of force. Maybe you want to put this on the bottom and do a Hindu shuffle force, whatever method. All I did is I just dealt the card off and then slid the rest of the cards on top like that, and then when they call stop, I square them up, turn them over and say, so you've chosen this card here. Remember, there's no holes in it at this point. I flip these over, so we've now got their chosen card, the 5 of diamonds. On top of the pack is another 5. You take this card, turn it face down, get your little hole punch, and you punch the holes, remembering where you punched them on the joker. Now, I always know that if I look at a playing card, that I tend to do one here, and depending on which pack you're using, I'm using the bicycle cards with the rider backs, so I look for little circles on here and I tend to clip those. So once you've punched the holes in there, you can show it both sides like that. You then say, here's a little trick using the joker, and you appear to push this face up into the middle of the pack. Of course, it's a classic magician's move. If you do it from the rear, you can actually push it right near the bottom. Now, what I'm actually doing, from the front, it looks as though I'm going in at the middle, but I'm actually pushing it about 2 or 3 cards from the bottom. I push it in, and as most magicians do, with your thumb, as you push it in, you tend to push out the middle here, so it gives the illusion that the card's been pushed out. You square them up, okay? You then do the vanish of the holes. So you take this card and you hover it, just grip it so it's floating just above the packet, so you can see the shadows cast through the holes. You then bring your hand over, and when you do that, you're just going to let go of the card to let it drop and square it up. And the illusion is great. When people see this, it gives that wow factor, and they see it gone. You can then do a double lift to turn it over to show that the holes have gone here as well. I then just put that to the bottom. I'm now going to spread the cards. Now be careful, you don't want to spread the bottom cards because you've just put that joker that you've just inserted. So make sure that you kind of just get a grip of the bottom half and spread the cards like this to show this, and when you pull this out, the holes on there. Now that in itself, the spectator's chosen a card, punched holes, the holes have travelled from that 5 of diamonds onto the joker that you just put in there, and then when you turn this over, it's got a red back. You don't have to put the message on there, you can just have it as a red back if you want to. What you can do is, because you put the card at the bottom, you can just pull out this card, which is their chosen card, and they can examine it because the one that you punch the holes in is here. That's up to you. Hopefully if you follow through on that one, as I said, make up your own routine. And talking of routines, there's a guy on YouTube that has great storylines. One of the hardest things I find in magic is making up a good routine, a good storyline, a good patter to go with a trick. And that's one of my downsides. I can never come up with a decent storyline. Even this one's a little bit lame. But a guy called Robert Ball, I put a link to one of his videos in the description. Go and pay a visit, because whenever he does a card trick or any kind of magic, he has a great storyline that goes with it, which really sells the trick itself. Anyway, till next time, practice and enjoy.